The best Larry Bird versus Michael Jordan story ever told.
Is Larry Bird up against everybody?
Because he played against
Him,
everybody.
Magic, Michael,
James Worthy. Hit that like button. Let's get it.
Who played against both Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, said, I'd much rather play against Michael Jordan than Larry Bird. Jordan made you look slow, but Bird made you look stupid. Look, I'm not here to convince you that Larry Bird is better than Michael Jordan. I'll just present to you the facts and let the NBA legends who actually played against both of them tell you what they think.
People always ask me who's the hardest player I've ever had to guard. And there was Michael Jordan, George Gervin, the late, great Mike Mitchell. I mean, so many players. I always say Larry Bird. And I say this for the reason because when Michael passed the basketball, he kind of hung on his shorts and he sit off to the side. With Larry, when he passed the basketball is when he became more dangerous. He was either setting a pick, coming off a pick, catching the ball, passing the ball. So he was the one you always had to stay attentive to the whole 24 seconds of that offensive play for the Celtics. And you know what? Oh, he's going to get an offensive rebound. He was going to do something to help his team have the best chance of scoring at that point. So I always say as him, he didn't need the basketball to affect the game.
To the untrained eye, Michael Jordan was light years better than Larry Bird, simply because his scoring numbers were better. But in actuality, it was much closer than that because Bird affected the game in so many ways.
I'm sorry, bro. The person narrating this got me dying.
Why? His
I don't
voice.
know. Huh? Yeah. Trying not to, but my bad.
Because Bird affected the game in so many ways.
I saw Larry Bird one night in Phoenix. They were losing big time at the half. And they come out in the third quarter, and Larry did not take a shot, but dominated the game. He had 7 assists in the third quarter, and they came back and won the game. He could affect the game without taking a shot. Who else can you say that about to that degree? Nobody. Michael could never do that. Never. Michael had to have the ball.
Here's a
A little bit of biasness, bro. That's not always true. Like, I get it, bro. I'm gonna let y'all rock. We gonna see.
Michael could never do that. Never. Michael had to have the ball.
Here's a 1986 magazine on the NBA. And remember, this is a league with Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Charles Barkley, Isaiah Thomas, Hakeem Olajuwon, Moses Malone, and Dr. J. And in a league with all of these all-time great players, everyone agreed that Larry Bird was the best. Because in 1984, 1985, and 1986, Larry Bird won MVP back to back to back. And in the 1986 playoffs,
Why he look like? Never mind.
He definitely look like somebody's mama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially that middle and last picture. BP look like. What? Take that jacket off.
Larry Bird finally faced Michael Jordan head to head. And in game 1, Michael dropped a spectacular 49 points. But Larry Bird had an all-around game with 30 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals to lead the Celtics to a victory.
That's 100% true, but why didn't they say Jordan's stats? They just said he dropped 46 points. They didn't say his rebounds or assists.
He probably didn't have any because they keep trying to say that he was a ball hogger.
No.
Which I don't think he was, but
He
all the
wasn't.
clips, I don't think he was either, but all the clips he's been shown, or all the clips that we've been seeing, it's just him going to
Yeah, of course. But he also, but that's because, I mean, he, like, what? He wasn't the only, you could do that for anything, though. You could, like, literally go and be like, yeah, a whole list of Larry Bird's best shots. Of course, if you're going to pick his best shots, you're going to get nothing but his best shots. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying Bird is not better or better. It's just whoever's making this video clearly has a bit of a confirmation bias, because you can't say, although he dropped an impressive 46 points, Larry Bird had a better all-around game because he had 30 points, 8 rebounds, 16 assists. It's like, well, then how many did Jordan have?
Right.
He had at least 2, because 46 points with 2 assists and 3 rebounds is, why would that not be just as good? And it also, like, I don't know. That's all I'm saying. It's a little bias. I'm just smelling the biasness a little bit. That's all.
6 rebounds, 3 steals to lead the Celtics to a victory. By game 2, MJ had a revelation.
And this is game 2 of the best-of-5 first-round action, and the Celtics will try to make it 2 in a row over the Bulls.
We really have to play a complete basketball game. I don't think one man can beat the Boston Celtics. I don't think one man can beat the Boston Celtics.
That's a fact.
But he sure did try, because Jordan turned on God mode and broke the record for the most points ever scored in a playoff game.
Lead in the first half of the game against the Celtics Thursday. Jordan trying to fake Bird, can't do it. Hits the jumper, but Bird played pretty well defensively against Jordan.
I know we started Dennis Johnson out on him, and then we went with Danny Ainge, myself, then Bill Walton, and we was trying to run him to help all the time, but he had his outside shot going so well that he really didn't need to penetrate that much.
Jordan hits it, 56 for Jordan, and that ties the Chicago Bulls all-time leader. Jordan with 8 on the clock. Jordan ties the game.
Oh, boy.
63 points, and you're looking at an all-time record.
Oh, boy.
Michael Jordan.
But it was an incredible
Second overtime.
playoff performance. I've never seen it before, and I had never seen it after. That wasn't Michael Jordan out there. It was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
But Larry Bird left with the most important statistic of all, the W.
10 on the clock. Bird, pick and roll parry. Victory for the Boston Celtics to take a 2-0 lead over Chicago in their best-of-5.
Michael Jordan didn't beat Larry Bird. You showed Michael Jordan going between his legs one time in the highlights, against Larry Bird. And that was the game he got 63.
That's when he dropped 63 on Bird. Yes.
But if memory serves me correct,
We stepped all in.
That's what I'm saying, bruh. I don't know, bruh. That kind of bothers me a little bit, because it's like, I know that it's hard to argue who's better than who, but you cannot say Larry Bird is better because Michael Jordan didn't beat him if he dropped 63 points in a game that only scored 131 points. That's half the points. He is like, what? That's a dangerous man. Larry Bird wouldn't say that. That's all I'm saying. Larry Bird wouldn't say that he's he's better or worse. I don't know.
Why they got Larry Bird's picture right down there, but they ain't got Michael's?
Because it's biased. That's all I'm saying, bro. Like, you can't base facts off of that. Like, if that's the case, then Vanilla Ice is one of the best rappers of all time. Like, come on, bro. We're not gonna do that. Like, what? 63 points. He put 63 points up on the board against Larry Bird. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Like, that's not. And Jordan was a great defensive player, so it's kind of like, I don't know. That's a little bias. That's all I'm saying. Again, I'm not even saying Larry Bird isn't better than Jordan. It's just, come on.
they got swept. No, not lost. They got swept. Okay.
That's true. Even though he dropped 63, we stepped all in his ass, did we not?
Yeah.
I rest my case.
Larry Bird went on to win his third championship that year. And the following year, when Larry faced MJ in the playoffs, it happened again.
Side. Larry Bird against Banks, rubs him around a Perry screen, drives it down the lane, and lays it in with a right hand. Michael Jordan with 30 points in this game, so he was 30 or better in all three playoff games. Bird's got 31 in the game and 14 in the fourth quarter. Bullseye. Boston has kept it in good hands in the fourth quarter. It's been Bird, and that's about it. Final score in Chicago Stadium. The Boston Celtics sweep the Bulls out 105-94. Too much Celtic talent, too much Celtic experience for a Bulls team lacking in both areas.
Yes, Larry Bird in back-to-back years swept Michael Jordan in the playoffs.
Facts.
So if Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, but Michael Jordan never beat Larry Bird, then what does that make Larry Bird? Now, to be fair, at that point, Michael Jordan didn't have his best teammate ever, Scottie Pippen, yet. When Scottie Pippen arrived...
To be fair, when the rest of the team came, you know, he just went and won 5 rings. Yo.
Not gonna let us down.
No, bro, because they be really trying it. But all right.
Jordan didn't have his best teammate ever, Scottie Pippen, yet. When Scottie Pippen arrived, the battles were closer and more intense. And later in the video, I'll let you see exactly what happened when Larry Bird faced a prime Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Because Larry Bird did something so miraculously impressive, no other man in the history of basketball can say they've done. But after Bird swept Jordan back-to-back years in the playoffs, that very next year in 1988, Michael Jordan had statistically the best season ever, where he won the scoring title at 35 points per game, the steals title, the MVP, the defensive player of the year, the All-Star Game MVP, and the dunk contest. He faced Larry Bird 4 times that year, and this is how it went. Game 1, tough battle, Bird wins. Game 2, MJ has a historic 50-point game to win by 10. Game 3, Larry's revenge. After that previous loss, I'm sure Larry Bird had that rematch circled on his calendar, because he ended up with 33, 8, and 7 and blew MJ out by 30 points. Game 4, MJ had an impressive performance with 39 points and 8 assists, but Larry Legend had 44 points and 10 rebounds, but most importantly, a win versus Michael Jordan in his statistically best season ever. And though Michael Jordan didn't face...
All right, bro. I'm just...
I'm not going to let them live it.
Because I know they're going to try to kill me in the comment. But it's like, bro, I'm not even saying Bird is better, but y'all don't hear that biasness. It's like he didn't beat Jordan. They beat the Bulls. The Celtics were just better, bro. Like, what the hell? They were a better team, but then the moment that Michael Jordan got his team together and played, they dominated. And of course, Larry Bird wasn't in the league anymore, but that doesn't mean the Celtics weren't in the league. Anyways, bro. All right.
Most importantly, a win versus Michael Jordan in his statistically best season ever. And though Michael Jordan didn't face Bird again that year in the playoffs, Jordan did face Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons. And I'll let Isaiah Thomas tell you exactly how he recalls that year and the rest of the 80s.
So Michael Jordan in the 80s, the best year that he had was he was the MVP of the league and the defensive player of the year. I believe that was in 88.
Yes.
We
88.
beat them 4-1. I'm gonna say that again. 4-1. They won one
May I
game,
respond?
Stephen A. And he never beat Larry Bird. He never beat Magic and Kareem. He never won. And all I'm saying is in the 80s, what I remember in the 80s, it was Philadelphia with Dr. J, Magic.
Okay, also, the Pistons versus the Bulls are like one of the biggest sports rivalries of all time. So, like, even if that's going to go whichever way it was, they also are acting like, I don't know, bro. Okay, bro. All right, bro. I'm just watching video.
It was Philadelphia with Dr. J, Magic, Kareem, Bert, Michael Jordan, he was a non-factor.
A non-factor. Is this your GOAT?
What?
But after Isaiah Thomas swept MJ, he did go on to beat Larry Bird in 6 games. And many people touted the Detroit defense for holding Larry Bird to under 20 points per game. But what many don't include in that...
What? Chill out.
Do you know who that is?
No, but I thought that it was Dennis Rodman, the last one. I didn't know who this one was.
Okay, bruh. Yo, alright, man. They gonna try to come for me, bruh. And I don't care. Because now I'm here to argue, bruh. Because what are you talking... Of course they beat him. This nigga Dennis Rodman was on the team, bruh. Where did Dennis Rodman go after the Pistons? The Bulls! Yo. Alright, bruh. They really doing it. They really try. Of course, bruh. They're trying. Yo, that's mad weird. This video biased as shit. That's all I'm gonna say. This video biased as hell. That's all, bruh. I've yet to say that Larry Bird isn't better than Jordan. That's still up for debate. But we not gonna act like... Alright, bro.
Go on to beat Larry Bird in 6 games. And many people touted the Detroit defense for holding Larry Bird to under 20 points per game. But what many don't include in that story is that Larry Bird was noticeably injured with painful bone spurs in both feet. So only because of injuries, for the first time in 5 seasons, Larry Bird would not make the NBA Finals. Starting the following year, Larry Bird had season-ending surgery on both feet after playing only 6 games. But sadly, it only got worse, because that following offseason, Larry Bird broke his back and was never the same again. But even as Larry Bird's entire body betrayed him, for some reason, he always played well against Michael Jordan, almost like he had a personal vendetta against Jordan. And I think I know why. When Michael Jordan was in college, he actually played an exhibition game against Larry Bird. Jordan and a bunch of college players, while preparing for the 1984 Olympics, faced Larry Bird and a bunch of NBA stars. The goal was to toughen the college kids up before they headed to the Olympics. So during pre-game warm-ups, when Jordan chased the loose ball to the other end of the court, Larry Bird picked the ball up. But instead of handing it to Jordan, Bird kicked the ball over Jordan's head to the opposite end of the court. And I guess you could say Michael Jordan took that personally.
Now look at my... Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Michael Jordan dominated that game. A young Michael Jordan actually carried a team full of college players past a prime Larry Bird and a bunch of NBA players. Michael Jordan won the battle, but Larry Bird won the war. I think Larry Bird took that loss personally, because Jordan never really got the best of Larry Bird ever again. When Larry Bird finally returned to the court after missing basically an entire season with foot surgery and a back injury, he faced prime Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen in a regular season game. The teams went back and forth.
Bagley against Paxson, 10 on the shot clock. Jordan on Bird. Quick feed into Jim Paxson for the layup. Larry Bird has KO'd the read. Jordan steal. Scottie Pippen ahead to Jordan. Michael for the dunk. Bird against Pippen. Bird working on Pippen one-on-one. Hits the fadeaway.
And with 10 seconds to go, it was a tie game. The Celtics had the ball, and the Bulls put their 2 best defenders, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, both on Larry Bird, because everyone knows who the ball is going to. And then this happened.
Let's see if they wind it all the way down. Inside Bird low, Bird low.
You can't double yet. Now you can quickly. Bird's jumper, good. 3.6 seconds left. Larry Bird gives the Boston Celtics a 2-point lead.
Everybody in this building had to know it was going till Michael came over to help out. Celtics lead with 3.6 seconds here, 102 to 100.
A game-winning shot while being double-teamed by both Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, two of the best defenders of all time. Somehow the word clutch doesn't even begin to describe the greatness of Larry Bird when the game was on the line. But maybe a quote from NBA Hall of Fame coach, executive, and former player Pat Riley can explain. In an interview, when comparing Larry Bird and Michael Jordan's clutchness, Pat Riley said this iconic quote, "If I had to choose a player to take a shot to save a game, I'd choose Michael Jordan. If I had to choose a player to take a shot to save my life, I'd take Larry Bird."
I feel that though.
As Larry Bird was on his
too.
last legs and Michael Jordan was starting his dynasty in 1991, Larry Bird mustered up enough strength to battle MJ again in one of the last great duels between the two.
Gamble came up with the steal.
Here's Bird. Yes. He was met on a switch by Jordan, and there 69, Chicago 67. Jordan eluding a triple team. Reggie Lewis. Larry Bird.
This battle between two all-time greats came down to the wire. In overtime, it was a tie game with 0.4 seconds on the clock, and the Chicago Bulls had the ball.
Pippen now will look to throw in. 0.4 of a second. And here it is, Jordan with the fling. Yes! But it's waved off. Will not count. Mike Mathis said no. Did not beat the clock.
Ooh, he almost had it. After Jordan's possible game winner was waved off, Larry Bird, on 4 straight possessions in double overtime, did this.
Jordan.
It's great to hear all these coaches talk about they're really concerned as Bird hits a little fadeaway. They're really concerned about the minutes building up. They want to be fresh going into the playoffs until the game.
Overtime number 2. Bird. Yes. Larry Bird.
The reason why that's so funny is because too, like when Larry Bird had that exact same situation, I know people are gonna be like, oh, I've seen people literally say, oh yeah, but they called it off and they were cheesing him. But then I know they're not gonna say they cheesed Jordan. I know for a 100% fact they're not gonna say they cheesed Jordan in that situation, because that would have won the game, and then it would have shut all the rumors down, shut all the opposing arguments down.
Bird, yes. Larry Bird heating it out to go in the second overtime. Bird with the fake through the foul and hits. Bird 45 to go in the second overtime. Bird fires, yes.
The crowd couldn't help but chant the name of the greatest player of all time.
Shook his head and said, this guy's too much.
And the chant of Larry. Lee Brown beat John Paxson off the pitch. And the second overtime, and that will do it.
Yeah.
The Boston Celtics in double overtime and defeated the Chicago Bulls 135 to 132
I'm still having to go in and out the same place.
The Celtics held on to win that game, but that year, Michael Jordan won his first championship versus Magic Johnson in the finals, and his dynasty had officially begun.
Larry and I were talking, and Michael walks in, and he says, "There's a new sheriff in town." And we both hit each other like, well, he's not lying.
Larry Bird retired after that next season, but not before he took the court with Michael Jordan one last time. Except this time, it would be on the same team in what many would call the greatest team ever assembled, the 1992 Dream Team.
And rebounded by Jordan.
Perez may have realized that may be his best opportunity to get an open look in transition.
Magic with the pass that misfired. Jordan with the behind-the-back save.
Oh, no!
Her.
That's good.
And you just knew that Larry Bird was not going to miss that shot.
Come
And
on.
into the great save by Michael
Yeah!
Larry, I hear that you're retiring. Thank goodness. I'm glad. I'm tired of seeing your face. For a lot of sad memories to me, but I enjoyed you tremendously. I wish you a lot of luck, and I think you had a very wonderful career, even though you probably ruined a lot of my successful games against the Boston Celtics. And I'll see you somewhere along the road, somewhere playing golf.
Even though he dropped 63, we stepped all in his ass, did we not? I rest my case.
Hey, man, hit that like button for that bias video, man. That joint was fire, though. I do think that Larry Bird, I know some people probably already clicked off, but I do think Larry Bird was better at Jordan, or better, he was a better team, like, he had a better team, and he played with that team for a long period of time prior to Jordan coming into the league, so I do think that he got the best of Jordan at that time, but, obviously when Jordan got his team, once he got Scottie Pippen and Rodman, it was a completely different ball game for him. And then from that on, that forward, it was just up. But yeah, bro, hit that like button. Road to 50,000.